Hello everyone, welcome back to the Book Brood. Today I'm going to be talking about homeschool and what we are going to be doing in homeschool for the first half of April 2021. So, this has been a crazy year, but we are transitioning from third and fourth grade into fourth and fifth grade, and we're a little bit early, so we're finishing up some things and we're starting some new things that'll continue into the next year. So we are finishing up medieval and we are using woke homeschool, the O Freedom for younger kids. So we're going to be learning about the history of mostly North America in the broader sense, and then we're going to narrow into the United States. But for the first month or so, we're going to be learning about the native people who lived here before European settlers. Alongside the woke homeschool, we're also doing country studies, and this is a thing I'm just kind of throwing together as I go. We're going to be learning about Sudan and South Sudan in the first half of April, and so I have some books for that. And we have a whole bunch to talk about, so let's just jump right in. So for learning about North American history, native people, and the Americas before the European settlers came, we're going to be studying Before Columbus, the Americas of 1491 by Charles C. Mann. And we're going to probably get through about half of this. This is a text book, so it's got a lot of information in here. We'll probably get through the first half of it in the first half of April. We'll also be using An Indigenous People's History of the United States for Young People by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. This is also a pretty dense book. This is a used copy, so it's already highlighted for me. So we'll probably work through the first 2 chapters of this for the first 2 weeks of April. We'll also be reading a couple of literature books. We're going to work on Seas Behind Trees by Michael Doris, and this is a native boy coming of age story. And we'll also be reading The Corn Grows Ripe, which is by Dorothy Rhodes. And this is a Mayan folktale that's been retold. I think it's lightly illustrated, and this looks adorable. Alongside all of those books, we're also going to be watching a ton of documentaries and shows on Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime. So that's going to take care of history. And then for geography and country study, we are working on Sudan and South Sudan. And for that, we are going to be reading The Red Pencil by Andrea Davis Pinkney. And this is a novel told in verse, and it's lightly illustrated. This is about Amira, whose family lives in Darfur, Sudan, and they are forced to flee their home and go to a refugee camp. And during this traumatic event, Amira goes mute. And this is the story of her learning to express herself through, I believe, writing, but possibly drawing. And I think this is going to be an age-appropriate opening to have hard conversations about the refugee experience, war, and a lot of hard topics like that. So I'm really looking forward to this. We're also reading Brothers in Hope, the story of the Lost Boys of Sudan by Mary Williams. And I got for myself, I don't think I'm going to be reading this to the children, but I might pull bits of it out to teach them, because I'm going to be reading this alongside learning with them. This is They Poured Fire on Us from the Sky, the true story of 3 lost boys from Sudan by Benson Deng, Alphonsian Deng, and Benjamin Ajak. And this is very much an adult nonfiction memoir but I would not be surprised if I do end up pulling certain sections that are age appropriate to talk about with the kids. We will also be reading The Good Braider by Terry Farish. I'll put a picture here. This is a poetry collection from a South Sudanese woman who is a refugee forced to flee her home. And I think this is going to be beautiful. And alongside all of these books, we are going to be watching a whole bunch of documentaries as well. And then we're also going to be cooking some Sudanese dishes, which should be delicious. Because we are finishing up our medieval things, we are still reading our way through Tamara Pierce's work, which I absolutely love. I remember loving from childhood. We have finished Alana's quartet and we are on to Kelladry's quartet. This is the first test, book 1 in the Protector of the Small series. And I absolutely love these. These are absolutely adorable. They're about young women becoming knights, and this is a fantasy realm, but highly based off of European medieval times. And because I have 2 young girls, these really appeal to them. What I like about Tamara Pierce also is that her quartets follow the same person going through childhood and into adulthood. So she really tackles puberty and all of the topics that come with that. These are very sex positive. They are empowering. And I just think they're so well done. Something we've been doing for the last few months are the Big Life journals. I have one of the children's and then a tween, because those are the ages of my children. And these I have been looking at for years, and I finally went ahead and purchased them. And they're okay. They're not as great as I was hoping that they would be. And I'm not sure if that is just they're not working for us, which is very possible. I really try and teach my children some strategies for mental health, especially over the last couple of years. It's been very stressful. So we're constantly on the lookout for new ways of being aware of emotions, especially as we're tipping into puberty. I say we. It's a whole group project over here. So along with these, we also listen to the Big Life Kids podcast every once in a while. We only do that every couple of weeks or so, and I just kind of pick episodes that I think fit well with what's going on with them at the time. Some other podcasts that we really enjoy are the 10 News podcast, which comes out twice a week and is a children-friendly news broadcast, which I enjoy. I really think it's important for my kids to stay up to date in what's going on in the world, but news is really depressing, so I really enjoy this podcast. And we also listen to Tumble Science podcast, which is a really fun podcast. They're usually about half an hour long episodes, and they're just about random science topics that appeal to children. One was about bananas, and we listened to a whole bunch of random banana facts and jokes and things for half an hour, and the kids just loved it. And the last thing I want to start this month is I did see on Netflix there is a new meditation guide show called Headspace Guide to Meditation, and I do want to start that with the kids and see how that goes. I have not watched any of them yet. I've been trying to get my kids to start meditating for months, and they are very resistant. We used to do bedtime meditations, and that worked really well, but we got out of the habit. And so I would absolutely love it if they would start meditating again. And then a bunch of things that are just continuing on. We're still using Khan Academy for math. We are doing a whole bunch of Got a whole binder full of worksheets for a bunch of different subjects, cursive and music and science, and there's a whole bunch of mental health, spelling, language arts. For language arts, I've been buying off of Teachers Pay Teachers. The book unit studies, what are they called? The novel studies. And those have been really helpful. I can use the same book for both children because they're so close in age. And I can just print all of that out and just put them right into the binder. And those always have vocabulary and dictionary work and reading comprehension questions and all sorts of things like that. So that is Homeschool. It's a very eclectic blend of whatever's working for us at the moment. If you have any recommendations on more books or resources that we can use to study native cultures, Sudan, South Sudan, any of this stuff that I've been talking about, please leave me some suggestions. I am constantly on the lookout for new things. We get bored very easily. So thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.